All right, cyber traders, welcome on back here this Thursday afternoon, August 18th, shortly after 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Great to literally see all of us once again here, Leda included, just joining us back inside the live trading room. I'll tell you what, folks, it's been relatively quiet inside our chat board the last hour. A couple of things moving here and there, but we're still kind of towards the end of the summer. We're pre-Labor Day, obviously. We're kind of gearing towards the end of the week. If it's beautiful out where you're located, I'm sure that you have better things to do than watch a slow market, right? So great to see Michael. Great to see Nina, Grant, and all of us live as well. Great to see all of us back on social media, Facebook Live or YouTube. I'll tell you what, there's a couple of things moving right now. Obviously, you should be seeing the ALLR stock on the screen right now, beginning to make its pullback down. But hey, just another runner that we had noticed popped up on Benzinga radar screen here just a moment ago. Ended up making a nice squeeze up towards 2 at first. It wasn't the real test of the level. This actually was. Once it blasted above 2 here, it suddenly ended up making a nice pop up towards the high off 234. You should expect resistance to turn into support at that point. But if it's not going to continue to hold it or even really look to at this point, broke under and over, but the next bar broke right back down. So is this going to flip as resistance again and then continue to plummet? It's up 57%. So I'll put it on our main list to begin. If it ends up continuing to dump off, I may even just scratch it off our list here at the end. But let's see what this could do. Hopefully it gets back over 2, holds above 2, and then we'll see where it can go. 10,000 share iceberg goal, so you should see on the ask here off 203. All right, I am in one trade right now. I was playing around with BTU, Michael, just a moment ago from our live trading room. BTU, he just mentioned, he was in or he was following and, slow market. So I was looking to just engage in a little chat with us inside the room, just asking what everyone was looking at the time. Michael said BTU, so I looked at BTU. This is a pretty just good coincidence, though. Like the second Michael had said that, I turn over to it, and it was maybe a minute right before this huge spike of volume came in. This was like a 350,000 share print specific to 25.79. 25.79. There was this huge print filled at the ask at that price. So it ended up leading to a nice move up at first towards 26. At the time, I thought that was going to be the top, and I thought it was going to pull back and tank. So I went short. It was off to a great start, but ended up obviously squeezing back up. I looked right back at my screen. I'm like, oh, shoot, this just flew right back over this big level. So I said, hold that thought for all of us inside the trading room, especially if you can't hold under that price. Well, at that point, it squeezed up. I ended up getting stopped out break even on that trade. So, I guess and make money on the trade right at that point, but better to go break even than to hang on as this squeezes up. So that's where you should expect resistance to turn into support. It still had a tough time holding support off of 26, had a much better job going under and over from the bigger level. No surprise there with thinking bigger level, they should hold stronger. Well, it broke under and over right from the same price. Before we started this meeting, it was on a smaller share size, but I did jump in long once it broke under and over. Led to a nice quick and easy move, but obviously failed to continue. So I ended up getting out right off 25.95. Smaller position. It wasn't a lot of money, but at that point, ended up pulling back. Listen, if it's not even going to flip 26 from resistance into support, then I'd be careful on this move. It might just kind of stall out here across the rest of the day. So it's up over 11% right now. There was a chance for this to make a much prettier run up, but I'm not really seeing it just yet. It's definitely tradable, definitely trading a ton of volume on the day, let alone that one print. So if you did well on this stock earlier today, then you should put it on your personal watch list. I'll come back to this here at the end. I'm in one stock now for the meantime, and I called this one out also inside the live trading room. Actually, Michael called out BTU, but I had said before MNMD. This obviously was on our pre-market list, our main list heading into the open. But just before I said, hey, worth watching at $1, big level at a whole number level, right? So from there, I ended up jumping in once it broke under, but back over. It took a little while for this to make its move, so I was a little worried about getting stopped out. I had my stop right off 95 cents. And with that, it failed to really drop too far. And then from there, squeezed up pretty nicely. So I ended up scaling out on half of this trade already off of 110 and then off of 115. I do have half of my overall position left. So on this trade here, the MNMD, I'm going to give credit to Robert F. here. Minnesota Doctor, we're going to nickname this one. Get it? MNMD. That's to Rob F there inside the chat board. But yeah, I mean, hey, this one still has some juice left to it, especially if it could if it could run right off of the 117 level. That was the opening bell print from this morning on this trade. So I'm gonna put a line there too. For right now, I'll put this on our list as well. Again, if this like tanks from this point, then I'll probably write it off and I'll probably just jump ship on my trade. I'm pretty content anyway being in from 101. All right. Little water break there, folks. I've been on the stick since 2 o'clock, or up until 2 o'clock, and here we are right now. So it's been a marathon today. I need my water. So let's go from top to bottom right now. Any of the other stocks we ended up doing well on, we'll recap briefly. I did take a small loss just a moment ago on drug. I missed out on this huge run up at first. I was pretty occupied on the MNMD trade and then a couple of the others that we had on the list. So unfortunately, after this popped, once the market opened up, I personally missed out on it. I know a couple of us did pretty well on this trade once it broke back over 3 here and ran. So led to a nice higher high later on as it topped off right off of 475. I ended up looking for the under and over off of 3. And for that, I'll actually just zoom in on the chart here pretty briefly. So it popped above 3 here, and that's when I initially noticed it. So I was looking for this to hold support off of 3 and then bounce. So it broke under and over. I jumped in right from 301. It was looking pretty good at the time, but if it's not going to make that big move up, from that point, ended up getting slammed below 3 again, dropped off like 40 cents. It seems like it's trying to rev back up right now as we're going live, but the volume really waned off from earlier. So, I'm going to put this on our side list here for the meantime. Drug. I'll come back to this probably at the tail end if I need to, but let's see what else we got here in the meantime. NEPT ended up making a pretty good move shortly after the market opened. Actually, I should say more so mid to late morning. Ended up breaking out from 150, topped off all the way up high at 347. Once the volume dies off, you should really expect for this to stall out. So it got very choppy. It did stall out, had a nasty shake down towards 260-ish. And for right now at this point, unless if you could short it, I have no interest on this trade. I have no interest on PSTV also. This was a huge bust from this morning. I was very hopeful to see PSTV at least make a move at some point today, perhaps make the move that MNMD is making right now off $1. So I was saying, watch out. If it can't look to hold a higher low here, it should look to test $1. Well, once it broke below $1, that was it. Ended up completely tanking from that point all the way down to, as I had said, the low, like right off of 73, 71 cents here. So no interest on this trade right now. The PSTV, maybe tomorrow, maybe next week. We'll see. All right, the ALLR. Oh, boy. All right, so coming back to this one, we had this on our list at this point, but I told you, if this ends up completely tanking, then there's no point in us following it. So we're back to one stock on our list here, the MNMD, but let's see what else we got, though. INDO, former runner. This had a tough time really running off of the line that you see there, off of 831, evidently based off the chart. Right over here, broke under and over, and this was the moment where we needed to see it really go and make the higher high. I mean, like really make the push up to retest 9 or retest 9. I mean, topped off right there. So, ended up failing to do so, pulled right back down. There we go. Ended up becoming resistance right from that point. It's just a chop fest right there, that trade, the INDO. It's up and down, very sideways moving in this range. So, I don't think it provides much opportunity unless if you're looking to lose money. Or unless if you're a scalper. Hey, if there's anyone scalping and you go in and out really quickly, then you're probably better suited for this type of trade, honestly. Chris, this was a great trade from this morning. Actually, to recap the Chris stock, we did put this on our pre-market watch list. This was probably our best play throughout the pre-market here. As I was doing the meeting, it was continuing to push up higher. Then after the open, ended up completely getting crushed. Dropped all the way back down towards 140, 145, and then obviously flattened out even more. Move this back down here. Let's see what else we got here for right now on the gainer side. Bunch of kind of wacky names. I'm pretty reluctant to even click on these stocks here. One from earlier this week, LRMR, up and down it goes. CSIQ for any of our real long time students. Grant, Leda, maybe Phil. CSIQ, I think a few of us remember back from the early days, 2014, 2015. I say early days as in my early days. Started with Fausto in October of 2014. One of the first stocks that we were like really following at that time, Canadian Solar. All right, what else we got here? Phase, not a whole lot happening there. Kind of spotty chart, kind of inactive there based off volume. I mean, it's up 13, 14%, but no real big money to follow on that trade. The BTU one, as we get back to this, it's pulling back a little bit more towards that 25.79 again. Honestly, just for sake of this level, it was a 350,000 share print. I didn't technically add BTU to our main watch list here so far this afternoon, but at this point, I may as well. It looks pretty good, interesting, and if it holds under this price, perhaps it could actually become the better short that I wanted it to be off of 26. All right, we got a few shouts on Weber, WEBR. We'll get to that one in just a moment from Rob and Yehuda. Tell, as I just clicked on it here, it's kind of a slow poke, but it's making a really good move across the whole day. And it's a stock that we are pretty familiar with back from early to mid this year, right around March, April time. Ended up making a big move off of 3. Just the big volume spikes. That goes to show that we were watching it on those days in particular. We're not going to follow a stock if it's not really trading a whole lot of volume, or at least compared to what it normally does. So really quick tip, like any of these big volume days, odds are we ended up trading it. And I know for a fact this run up, we ended up doing really well on. So this Tel stock, I don't mind slipping on our list here. It's not going to be at the top, but it's a nice stock at the highs, a good level 1 trade. Hopefully this becomes a lot more faster moving. All right, WEBR right now from Yehuda. From Yehuda and Rob. Yeah, this thing is looking really nice right now. Ended up making a huge pop from 850, as you could see, up to 10. It false broke 10, the first test there, folks. That's very telling from what we talked about even earlier this week in our Traders Talk workshop. Well, on the re-break over 10, all bets were off, and this thing ended up flying. So, yeah, great call. And the Weber trade, we'll put this at the top of our list. There we go. All right, let's hop over to the loser side right now as I refix my scanner here. This is why we work together as a team, folks. Better for us to call that out now compared to afterwards when I say, hey, folks, let me know if there's anything else up, down, left, right, more than 5%. So hopefully there's a lot more on this run left for all of us inside the live trading room. Let's hop over to the losers list here. BWV. I have a line at 450, probably from yesterday. Oh, yeah, this is from a coaching call I did with a student yesterday. Goes to show how well these levels played out, right? Wow, ended up dropping all the way down towards 415, which I now recall. That's where we ended up seeing a huge iceberg from pre-market from yesterday morning on this trade. I think we talked about that also in the Phase 1 stock course class. Let me do a little cleaning up here. Either way, we're not going to follow this BWV for the afternoon. It's very flat. I don't see any opportunity in it, really. AXDX, the stock is shortable. It's down big. That's why I clicked on it. And I'll tell you what, it's not too close to the ground floor, and it's dropping right now towards the low of the day here. So this could be a really good short opportunity for the afternoon. This AXDX. I'm not putting this on the main list just yet. I'm going to write it down on the side, and maybe at the very end of this meeting we'll see. My MNMD trade's dropping off a little bit down towards 109, 110, so I may look to pull the plug on that live here in just a moment. Kirkland's another big drop off on this one. For as much as it ran up the last day and a half, ended up making a big drop off early in pre-market, then after the open, then obviously right now dragging back down towards 5. So this is a better stock to at least slip on our main list here. Kirkland's just more liquid, just a stock that we are familiar with, most of us inside the live trading room. Let me just get my order bar set there. All right, so Mark call out the Rite Aid short earlier today. That was a really timely call out, not just like, hey, it's a stock dropping. It was well timed. It was right as it was beginning to slip back down a little bit lower and lower here at this point. So this thing only continued to drop off all the way down close towards 850. A stack of orders on the bid sitting there right now, roughly 14,000 or 15,000 shares at 850, 11K on the bid at 851. Still watching that MNMD trade just in for the meantime here on that. Let's see that sling right back up. Actually, you know what I'll even do? I'm going to Move my stop here up towards 108, 107. And if it shakes back down, I'll just get stopped out with a smaller profit on that. I'll be content. The blue stock, talk about shorts. And if you go back to the morning meeting, this is exactly what I was talking about. It's not as if I'm like exactly predicting it on blue right away on this stock, but it's just to say if there's a stock that's up big and it fails to break any higher, it fails to continue its move up, and if it's easy to borrow, what goes up comes back down. So that's where I was saying in the morning meeting that could present itself a really good short opportunity for the morning. Hey, I was preoccupied on the M&MD trade and a couple of other stocks we also had on the list. Blue was on the main morning watch list, and any one of us could have had this as a short after the market opened up. Only dropped off all the way down towards 550. For right now, it's pretty flat. It's tradable in the sense of volume, but I don't really see much opportunity in it. I think the show is over on this one altogether for the day. We'll check back in with it tomorrow for sure. I mean, this is a great stock to keep your eye on, not just for tomorrow, but even at this point with more volume being traded on this stock the last 2 days here now, day over day over day. It's a great side list stock to keep your eye on, in the morning. All right, I think that just about wraps it up on the loser side here, folks. Market's very wonky right now. It's in this tight range. It really hasn't gone much of anywhere today. So if you're just rejoining us right now, I'm sure you're excited and ready to go for the market close, the final hour here. But if you were with us from earlier and if you had a pretty good day today, especially given the circumstances, we had a good afternoon, good morning, but it took a little while to get the gear going. If you did really well today, or if you hit your mark already, I would enjoy life. I would just go out there, do some gardening, do some planting like you always hear Fausto say. You obviously know Fausto is a big gardener, planter himself. If you're a boater, he's also a big boater. Go out there and, go out there on the boat. Either way, enjoy your life at this point. At this stage, we'll see if there's anything moving here heading into the close. That's why I'm here. That's why Rich will be on the mic here heading into the afternoon. But if there's anything else, let me know. But I'll tell you, the Weber trade looks good. M&MD looks all right. BTU as a short now does look better. So that one itself could be actually a pretty interesting short. Dan asking from earlier, TEL. Yeah, we have TEL on the list, already. Looks interesting. It's at the highs. Hopefully it continues, but this might be a little slowpoke. Kirkland's on our list, potentially is a short, but it's not fully there just yet. So we have a few stocks to start with, but if the wheels, begin to slow down a bit within the market or within these stocks, at least, I would look to kind of wrap it up. All right. Hey, I wouldn't be truthful without saying that, right? I mean, hey, that's what we work for. We work so we look to enjoy, the finer things in life, and otherwise we don't need to be at our desk all day. So with saying that, well, otherwise I'm going to be here up until 3:30 on a coaching call with one of our students. Any questions that you folks have for all of us inside the live trading room, you know where to find me. Just a private chat away there. For all of us on YouTube and social media, Facebook Live, YouTube there, feel more than free to email me. Josh@CTUtrading.com is my email. I always like to post my email at the end of these streams. If you're interested in joining our live trading room, just go right down to the link on the yellow banner below right there. I appreciate you folks sticking with me all throughout the week. You got me for one more day this week, and then Fausto, I believe, will be back next week. All right, folks. But aside from that, best of luck trading here heading into this market close. Talk to you all soon.
Become a Cyber Group member today. Just click the link below and receive all these amazing products and a world of knowledge for just $9. Do it today.